Howdy guys, this is Jeevan from Texas A&M. I hope that everyone has been having a great Lent season so far, one that's filled with a lot of prayer and a lot of faithfulness. And I pray that we continue having our hearts transformed and our minds renewed through this season, and that God really reveals himself to us and what he really wants us to do in our lives throughout the next couple of weeks. I know that we're already on week 2 and it's moving by really fast, but yeah, let's dig into today's devotion. Today we'll be kind of looking over what true faith is and the beauty of God's grace when we show him the extent of our faith. The first passage, if you've been keeping up, is taken from Genesis 22, and this is the story of Abraham being tested by God. And in this, God requests Abraham to take his son Isaac up to Moriah to be a sacrifice to God himself. Um, if you know the story of Abraham, you know that his love for Isaac is profound. That Isaac himself was a miracle in Abraham's life, and because of that, Abraham's heart was filled with joy for his son Isaac, and that he truly did cherish him. Abraham, however, knows that God indeed is the creator of his heart, and because of that, no earthly nor mortal attachment, including Isaac in his life, can take that place of God in Abraham's heart. God really does fill Abraham's heart to the brim, and because of this, his faithfulness is phenomenal. In the story, Abraham is able to not only quickly listen to God, but also by showing great faith, he is able to withstand watching his only son aid him in helping him in his own sacrifice, which is unknowing. Isaac is doing this unknowingly. He doesn't question it, nor does he turn his back at any point towards God. And so what happens is Abraham takes Isaac and puts him even on the altar and is ready to light that fire. God says, "No, you have showed great faith. You don't need to do this." And God sends a ram down from the heavens to take Isaac's spot. So let's just take a second to look at our own lives here, as if we were Abraham. We have Isaacs in our own world. This can be friendships, relationships, families, the things in our lives that really capture our heart with ease. And if you really try to think about this and parallel it with this story, or put it in parallel with this story, how many of those things can we really sacrifice for the purpose of God? Like Abraham was able to give up his only son that he loved with his entire heart. But some of us can't give up a lot of different small little things in our lives for the purpose of, spending an extra minute with God. So I just think that's something that we should think about. And the next passage kind of goes along with this. It's another one we know pretty well. It's the story of Jesus healing the paralytic man. And the friends of this man know that the Lord himself is in town, and their faith is allowed to shine at this moment. They can't find any way to get into the crowd, and it causes them to do this ridiculous thing where they go up to the rooftop of this house and literally bring the man down right in front of Jesus himself. It's a very reckless love, but it's such a beautiful thing to see. And Jesus immediately sees it too. He sees the beauty of their faith because they know who the Lord himself is, and they have such great faith. And the first thing he does is forgive their sins. And after that, he heals the man himself, who is able to get up again. Pretty much this is the equivalent of God bringing down the rams to replace Isaac as an offering in the first story. And so I guess the overall theme is that we want to, the question I really want to pose to you guys today is, what are we willing to do to get to Jesus? That really is the ultimate question. Abraham gave his only son, and the friends did everything they could to have that man in front of Jesus himself, even though he couldn't walk or anything, because of their loves for the ones that they love. They were just phenomenal. But what was greater than that love for these friends and for Isaac was their faith, and their faith in God and their faith in Jesus Christ himself. So as we continue through this Lent season, the one question I kind of want to leave you guys with are, what are we willing to do to get to Jesus? How much faith do we have, and how much faith can we have? Yeah, so I pray that all of you guys have a great Lent season going forth, and I will be praying for you guys, and yeah, thanks for listening.